You see, my gorgeous Aries, at the beginning of this week, you're actually going to have a really unusual and rather crispy vision. So what do I mean by having unusual and rather crispy vision? This vision is going to be really powerful, but in a very different way, because purely how this vision is actually going to come about. You're suddenly going to be reminded by, right at the beginning of this week, you're going to be reminded by what somebody told you, like not that long ago, and you consider this person to be some kind of a teacher, like a spiritual teacher, for example. Or you are just going to be remembered like somebody who you watched or somebody who you listened to, who you consider to be extremely spiritual person. And you are going to be reminded what this person said, and it's not that you didn't kind of like really get this information at that moment in time when you kind of processed it, and not processed it, but at that moment in time when you became aware of it. But it's more about a certain amount of time like needed to pass in order for you to go through the certain particular and quite particular experience. So you have already been through this experience, so subconsciously you have been pretty much so prepared for this moment in time. So this vision that you are going to have, it's like going to come more like in a form of like in a very kind of intuitive way. Suddenly you are going to feel very adamant to make the necessary step, because you will know that you are going to prevent the actual tower. Now, tower, of course, meaning like a really kind of like a dark situation or a negative situation or an unexpected situation. Well, in this case, it's not going to be unexpected, because you are going to be able to put two and two together purely through your own intuition, through your own internal guidance. So this vision, it's all going to be about you basically like a really kind of understanding and feeling that if you don't make the necessary step, and you will know what am I talking about here, if you don't make the necessary step, my gorgeous Erini, then you are going to have this particular tower. So you will know exactly what do you need to do in order to protect yourself. But somehow this is going to be consisting of you giving something to someone as well. Somehow this is going to be consisting of you giving something to someone, and it may not even be related or connected to this particular experience, but I'm telling you that suddenly you're gonna feel the need to kind of give something to someone, and this particular person, specific person, is going to be on your mind, and you need to, and this is going to be completely out of the blue. You're going to be focusing on this, you're going to be thinking about this, and then suddenly it's going to come to you, oh my god, this, like some dear or beautiful or gorgeous person in your life, whether this is a family member, whether this is your friend. Suddenly that person, one person is going to be on your mind, another person, not the first person, not that spiritual teacher. I hope I'm not too confusing. So after that, you are gonna suddenly, completely out of blue, you're gonna be reminded of someone in your life who you really love as well, and you are gonna feel how you want to give something to them. And this is ever so important for you to do, because as soon as you do that process, this is all extremely connected. Something is gonna happen, and you are going to have this moment of awakening. As soon as you give what was on your mind to that particular person, I know this sounds absolutely crazy, but as soon as you give that, you are gonna do something absolutely mind-blowingly powerful, especially when it comes to the actual karma. So very shortly after that moment in time, you are really going to have such an incredible awakening, like a personal awakening, where you are gonna start feeling the complete extent of everything that you have been going through within the last few months. And there is so much that it's actually going to be clear to you, especially when it comes to like you making the necessary step that was on your mind for such a long time, but you felt powerless and powerless and powerless. Then and there you're going to realize that this is all absolutely connected, and you are going to feel so kind of like a really delighted in so many different ways, and you are going to feel like you want to kind of really want to have a celebration, because all this is going to be leading towards more, towards more, towards more. It's not only about preventing yourself from having a tower, like a negative situation, an unexpected negative situation in your life, but it's also at that moment in time, as soon as you gift something to someone who is going to be on your mind, there is a great reason for it. Very shortly after that moment in time, you will be able to see way beyond. You will be able to kind of understand other steps, that are naturally and organically, slowly but surely coming to you. And that in itself, it's really kind of going to make you aware of an important conclusion here, an important conclusion. And that particular conclusion that you're going to have, it's going to be primarily responsible for you, like having your moment of awakening and wanting to have a celebration, how good you're going to feel. Because for the last 9 months in particular, you felt like really powerless, when you wanted to make the necessary steps. So this is going to be such an incredible moment of your personal liberation as well. Very deep, very powerful, very significant, and very important. By the time you get to the mid part of this week, my gorgeous Aries, it's like, oh my goodness, this is absolutely incredible, because you are really going to have two mind-blowing, wonderful opportunities, two brilliant opportunities are going to come to you at around midweek, and they are going to surprise you like, oh my God. And these incredible opportunities that you are going to have, this is a lot to do with finances, with your financial situation, with your practicality, with your security, with your own personal power. But most importantly, these two opportunities that you are going to have are also going to be absolutely super important for you to take on immediately, because you are literally not only going to make your financial situation better, but at the same time you are also going to protect what's yours. And that in itself is going to lead towards you making a really important decision, which is going to be consisting of two interesting things, but that are completely different. The decision that you're going to make after that moment in time is going to be, well, it's a lot to do with you understanding that you're going to be part of some kind of competition here, okay? And that on another hand means that you are going to have to come out of your comfort zone and do things maybe that you don't want to do for a while, but it is ever important. And then on another thing that this is consisting of, it's also a lot to do with your like a kind of using the skill that it's a very, very uniquely yours, unique skill, something that you are brilliant at, something that you're so good at. And that in itself is going to be a mind-blowing combination, because it is going to start changing slowly but surely every single aspect of your life. But it is going to take a while indeed. But most importantly, the creativity that you are going to start feeling, at around this time is going to be absolutely out of this world. Your own creativity is going to be your own guidance indeed. By the time you get to the last part of this week, my gorgeous Aries, it's like a basically, you see, this is like quite interesting situation that is going to happen. In order to feel fully happy, you will know that something will need to go. You will know exactly what will need to go, because every single time when you're by yourself, and every single time when you're on your own, and every single time when you try to meditate, or when you tried to meditate like lately, something would just come up and it would prevent you from like doing things, and it would prevent you from like kind of relax spiritually. And this means that it's a lot to do with a certain burden that was in your life for way too long, and now you're coming out of something really negative. So this is in itself helping you to raise your vibration, and that is naturally going to really slowly but surely start like kind of getting you out of that burden. So now you're going to realize at around the end of the week that something needs to go, my gorgeous Aries, and that in itself, it's like a pretty much so, it's preventing, it's like to do with a burden that's preventing you to be free, that's preventing you to be a free spirit, and that's preventing you to be assertive with those things that you should be assertive about. So it's to do with a burden, you know, and that burden like basically manifested in itself in your life within the last year. Like, oh my God, I'm going like back 1 year. That burden you were dealing with for a while, to deal with a burden for a year, it is indeed a long time. But the good news, something very, very heavy on your shoulders, you know, very big problem, you know, that nobody else couldn't help you but you. And it happened within the last year purely because you took the wrong turning somewhere. You see, you took the wrong turning somewhere, my gorgeous Erini. It doesn't really matter. The bottom line is that you are gonna come out of it through your own understanding, and that's all what's important right now. So it's to do with a burden that basically manifested itself within the last year in your life only because you took a wrong turn somewhere, only because, you know, you were like kind of like a really drawn towards some kind of illusion, you know, towards some kind of illusion. But that doesn't matter, because at that moment in time you were going through something really difficult and something personal. So that was your natural response. So that doesn't really matter. It's more about what are you actually going to gain and what are you actually going to learn out of it. This is when things are going to become very, very interesting for you, because you are about to set yourself free. And when you become aware of that burden, and when you become aware of all this, you know, your consciousness is going to go on a different level, and there is something very specific that you are going to understand, and you're going to realize that you're never ever ever going to do that again. And that particular thing you need to share. You need to share with the people in your life, you need to share with the people in your family, you need to share with the people that are the closest to you, because this is karmically going to get back to you indeed, because you have been going through something rather unique, but then at the same time you need to make other people aware so they don't make the same mistake. Okay, my gorgeous Erini, thank you ever so much for watching my videos. I'm sending you brightest blessings, lots of love, healing, peace and light to every single one of you. Thank you ever so much for watching my videos. Sasha Bonasin, psychic medium. Love you. Bye.